The Amur Tiger, South Korea's national animal and cultural symbol. The Amur Tiger, also known as the Siberian Tiger, hold a revered position in Korean culture and history. This magnificent predator, scientifically named Panther tigris altica, is not merely a biological species, but a profound symbol deeply woven into the fabric of South Korean national identity. As the country's national animal, the Amur Tiger represents courage, strength, and the indomitable spirit of the Korean people, embodying values that have sustained the nation through centuries of triumph and adversity. The magnificent Amur Tiger, biology and characteristics. The Amur tiger stands as the largest tiger subspecies and one of the most formidable predators on Earth. Adult males can weigh between 180 to 300 kilograms, with some exceptional individuals reaching up to 350 kilograms. Females are smaller, typically weighing between 100 to 167 kilograms. These impressive cats can measure up to 3.3 meters in length from nose to tail, making them truly awe-inspiring creatures of the wild. Their distinctive orange-gold coat, marked with characteristic black stripes, provides excellent camouflage in the dense forests and snowy landscapes they inhabit. Unlike other tiger subspecies, the Amur tiger has developed a paler coloration and thicker fur to adapt to the harsh winters of northeastern Asia, where temperatures can plummet to minus 40 degrees Celsius. This luxurious coat grows especially thick during winter months, with a dense undercoat providing insulation against the brutal cold. The Amur tiger's physical prowess is matched by its hunting capabilities. These solitary predators possess extraordinary strength, capable of taking down prey many times their own size, including wild boar elk and even young bears. Their powerful jaws can deliver a bite force of approximately 1,050 pounds per square inch, and their retractable claws can grow up to 10 centimeters in length. They are also surprisingly agile for their size, capable of running at speeds up to 60 kilometers per hour in short bursts and leaping distances of up to 10 meters. Historical presence in Korea. The Korean peninsula was once home to a thriving population of Amur tigers. Historical records, folklore, and archaeological evidence confirm that these magnificent creatures roamed freely across the mountainous regions of Korea for thousands of years. Ancient Korean texts describe encounters with tigers, and their presence shaped the daily lives, fears, and aspirations of Korean people throughout history. During the Three Kingdoms period and the subsequent Goryeo and Joseon dynasties, tigers were a common sight in Korea's mountains and forests. They inhabited nearly every mountainous region, from the southern provinces to the northern highlands. Historical accounts tell of villages living in constant awareness of tigers, with communities developing rituals and practices to protect themselves and coexist with these powerful predators. The relationship between Koreans and tigers was complex and multifaceted. While tigers were feared as dangerous predators that occasionally attacked humans and livestock, they were simultaneously respected and revered as spiritual guardians and symbols of power. This duality is reflected in Korean art, literature, and religious practices, where tigers appear as both fearsome adversaries and benevolent protectors. Unfortunately, the 20th century brought catastrophic changes. Japanese colonial occupation, the Korean War, habitat destruction, and intensive hunting campaigns led to the extinction of wild tigers on the Korean peninsula. The last confirmed sighting of a wild tiger in South Korea was in the 1940s, though unconfirmed reports persisted into the 1960s. Today, the Amur tiger survives primarily in the Russian Far East, with a small population in northeastern China. Cultural significance and symbolism. In Korean culture, the tiger transcends its role as a mere animal and emerges as a powerful cultural icon laden with symbolism. The tiger, known as Harangi in Korean, appears throughout Korean mythology, folklore, and artistic traditions as a guardian spirit, a symbol of courage, and an embodiment of national character. Korean folktales are replete with tiger stories that reflect the animal's complex relationship with humans. One of the most beloved folktales is The Sun and the Moon, where a tiger plays a central role in a cautionary tale about greed and trust. Another famous story tells of a tiger who befriended a dried persimmon, humorously portraying tigers as creatures that could be both fierce and foolish. These stories, passed down through generations, have shaped Korean attitudes toward tigers and reinforced their symbolic importance. In Korean shamanism and traditional spirituality, tigers serve as guardian deities and messengers between the earthly and spiritual realms. Mountain spirits, or sanshin, are often depicted accompanied by tigers, emphasizing the tiger's role as protector of sacred spaces and natural domains. These spiritual associations elevated the tiger beyond a physical predator to a supernatural force worthy of reverence and respect. The tiger's symbolic significance extends to Korean art, where it appears in paintings, sculptures, and decorative objects. Meanwhile, Korean folk paintings frequently feature tigers depicted with an endearing, almost comical quality that belies their fierce nature. These paintings adorn homes and public spaces, believed to ward off evil spirits and bring good fortune. The artistic tradition of portraying tigers reflects Korea's unique cultural perspective, where humor and reverence coexist in representations of this powerful animal. The tiger as national symbol. The designation of the Amur Tiger as South Korea's national animal represents a deliberate choice that resonates with profound cultural and historical significance. While South Korea officially adopted the Korean magpie as its national bird, the tiger has long served as an unofficial national symbol, appearing on emblems, logos, and representing the nation in international contexts. During the 1988 Seoul Olympic Games, South Korea introduced the world to Hodori, a friendly tiger mascot that embodied the spirit of Korean hospitality and determination. Hodori became an international sensation, presenting Korea's tiger heritage to a global audience and cementing the tiger's association with national pride and achievement. The mascot's success demonstrated how deeply the tiger symbol resonated both domestically and internationally. The tiger represents qualities that Koreans admire and aspire to embody: courage in the face of adversity, strength in overcoming challenges, and the fierce independence that has characterized Korea's historical journey. Throughout periods of foreign invasion, colonial occupation, and national division, the tiger has served as a rallying symbol of resilience and the unconquerable Korean spirit. In contemporary South Korea, the tiger continues to appear in military insignias, corporate logos, sports team emblems, and public art. The Korean national soccer team supporters call themselves the Red Devils, but tiger imagery remains prevalent in Korean sports culture. Major corporations incorporate tiger motifs in their branding, associating their enterprises with the animal's strength and tenacity. Conservation status and challenges. The Amur tiger faces critical threats to its survival, making conservation efforts urgently necessary. Current population estimates suggest that only approximately 500 to 600 Amur tigers remain in the wild, primarily in Russia's Primorai and Khabarovsk regions, with a small population in China's northeastern provinces. This represents a dramatic decline from historical numbers, when thousands of tigers roamed across northeastern Asia. The primary threats facing Amur tigers include habitat loss, poaching, and human-wildlife conflict. As human populations expand and development encroaches into tiger territory, the available habitat for these large predators continues to shrink. Tigers require vast territories to hunt and breed successfully, with male tigers needing ranges of up to 1,000 square kilometers. Habitat fragmentation disrupts these territorial patterns and reduces genetic diversity among isolated populations. Poaching remains a severe threat, driven by illegal wildlife trade markets where tiger parts command exorbitant prices. Traditional medicine markets, particularly in some Asian countries, create demand for tiger bones, organs, and other body parts, despite no scientific evidence supporting their purported medicinal properties. The high prices offered for tiger parts provide powerful economic incentives for poachers, making enforcement of protection laws challenging. Human-wildlife conflict occurs when tigers prey on livestock or, in rare cases, threaten human safety. Local communities living near tiger habitats sometimes view tigers as dangerous pests rather than valuable wildlife, leading to retaliatory killings. Addressing these conflicts requires comprehensive approaches that protect both human livelihoods and tiger populations. Climate change presents an emerging threat to Amur tiger survival. Changing weather patterns affect prey populations, alter forest ecosystems, and may force tigers to expand their ranges into areas with greater human presence. The complex interactions between climate change and tiger ecology remain an active area of scientific research, conservation efforts, and hope for the future. Despite the challenges, significant conservation efforts are underway to protect and restore Amur tiger populations. International organizations, governments, and local communities are collaborating on comprehensive conservation strategies that address the multiple threats facing these magnificent animals. Russia has established several protected areas specifically designed to safeguard tiger habitats, including the Siko-Talon Nature Reserve and the land of the Leopard National Park. These protected areas provide crucial breeding grounds and hunting territories where tigers can live relatively undisturbed by human activities. Enhanced anti-poaching patrols, improved monitoring technologies, and stricter enforcement of wildlife protection laws have contributed to stabilizing tiger populations in these regions. China has also increased its conservation efforts, establishing nature reserves and wildlife corridors that connect fragmented tiger habitats. Cross-border cooperation between Russia and China has created transnational conservation networks that allow tigers to move freely across political boundaries, increasing genetic diversity and improving long-term population viability. South Korea, despite having no wild tiger population, has invested in conservation efforts both domestically and internationally. Korean zoos participate in international breeding programs designed to maintain genetic diversity among captive tiger populations. These programs serve as insurance populations that could potentially contribute to future reintroduction efforts if suitable habitats can be restored. Perhaps most ambitiously, South Korea has explored the possibility of tiger reintroduction on the Korean peninsula. While significant challenges remain, including habitat restoration, prey-based establishment, and public acceptance, the idea reflects Korea's commitment to reconnecting with its natural heritage. Preliminary feasibility studies have identified potential reintroduction sites in the Demilitarized Zone, DMZ, and other remote mountainous regions where human activity is minimal. The DMZ, created as a buffer zone between North and South Korea, has paradoxically become one of Asia's most important wildlife refuges. Largely untouched by human activity for over 70 years, this strip of land has allowed ecosystems to regenerate and wildlife to flourish. Some conservationists envision the DMZ as a potential peace park where tigers and other endangered species could be reintroduced, symbolizing reconciliation and shared environmental stewardship between the two Koreas. Scientific research and monitoring, understanding Amur tiger ecology and behavior, is essential for effective conservation. Scientists employ various technologies and methodologies to study these elusive predators, including camera traps, GPS collars, genetic analysis, and track surveys. These research efforts provide crucial data about tiger movements, population dynamics, prey relationships, and habitat requirements. Camera trap networks installed throughout tiger habitats capture images of individual tigers, identified by their unique stripe patterns. This non-invasive monitoring technique allows researchers to estimate population sizes, track individual tigers over time, and understand their spatial ecology. GPS collars fitted to selected tigers provide detailed movement data, revealing how tigers use their territories, identify important corridors between habitats, and interact with human-modified landscapes. Genetic studies examine DNA samples collected from tiger scat, hair, and other sources to assess genetic diversity, identify family relationships, and track gene flow between populations. This information is vital for managing small, isolated populations and preventing inbreeding depression that could threaten long-term survival. Research into tiger prey populations is equally important. Scientists study the abundance and distribution of wild boar, deer, and other prey species to understand the carrying capacity of different habitats and identify areas where prey restoration efforts might support increased tiger numbers. This ecosystem-level approach recognizes that tiger conservation requires maintaining healthy, functioning ecosystems that support entire food webs. Educational initiatives and public awareness. Successful tiger conservation requires public support and engagement. Educational programs in South Korea and throughout the tiger's range countries work to build awareness about tiger conservation and foster positive attitudes toward these magnificent predators. These initiatives target diverse audiences, from school children learning about their natural heritage to local communities living near tiger habitats. In South Korea, museums and cultural centers feature exhibitions about tigers, exploring both their biological characteristics and cultural significance. These exhibits connect contemporary Koreans with their historical relationship with tigers and explain why tiger conservation matters for global biodiversity. Interactive displays, virtual reality experiences, and educational workshops make tiger conservation accessible and engaging for younger generations. Schools incorporate tiger-related content into curricula, teaching students about ecology, conservation biology, and environmental ethics through the lens of tiger conservation. Student competitions encourage creative expressions of support for tiger protection, from art project to essay contests to social media campaigns. These educational efforts cultivate a generation of Koreans who view tiger conservation as part of their cultural identity and environmental responsibility. Community-based conservation programs in Russia and China work directly with people living near tiger habitats, addressing human-wildlife conflicts and creating economic incentives for tiger protection. These programs provide compensation for livestock losses, develop alternative livelihoods that reduce dependence on forest resources, and engage local residents as conservation partners rather than adversaries. When communities benefit from tiger conservation, they become powerful advocates for protecting these animals. Economic dimensions of tiger conservation. Tiger conservation generates significant economic value through ecotourism, ecosystem services, and international recognition. Wildlife tourism focused on tigers attracts visitors willing to pay premium prices for opportunities to observe these magnificent animals in their natural habitats. This tourism creates jobs, generates revenue for local communities, and provides economic justification for maintaining protected areas. However, developing sustainable wildlife tourism requires careful management to ensure the human presence does not disturb tiger behavior or degrade habitats. Responsible ecotourism operations maintain strict guidelines about visitor numbers, viewing distances, and habitat access, balancing economic benefits with conservation imperatives. Tigers also provide indirect economic benefits as umbrella species. Protecting large, charismatic predators like tigers requires preserving extensive ecosystems that support numerous other species. These intact ecosystems provide valuable services, including water purification, carbon sequestration, soil conservation, and climate regulation. The economic value of these ecosystem services far exceeds the direct costs of tiger conservation, making tiger protection a sound investment in natural capital. International recognition and prestige associated with successful tiger conservation enhance national reputations and can influence diplomatic relationships and trade partnerships. Countries demonstrating strong environmental stewardship attract positive international attention, while environmental degradation and biodiversity loss can damage national images and economic prospects. The future of tigers and Korean identity. The future of the Amur tiger remains uncertain, balanced between extinction and recovery. The next few decades will prove critical in determining whether these magnificent animals survive or disappear forever. Success will require sustained commitment, international cooperation, adequate funding, and political will to prioritize conservation amid competing demands for land and resources. For South Korea, the tiger represents more than a conservation challenge. It embodies questions about national identity, environmental values, and the kind of future Koreans envision for themselves and subsequent generations. Will Korea be a nation that successfully reconnects with its natural heritage, or will the tiger remain only a cultural memory and historical symbol? The growing interest in tiger reintroduction on the Korean peninsula reflects deeper currents in Korean society, a desire to heal environmental wounds, restore ecological balance, and reclaim a complete national identity that includes wild nature alongside technological advancement and economic prosperity. Tiger restoration would represent not just biological conservation, but cultural and spiritual renewal. Young Koreans increasingly express environmental consciousness and concern about biodiversity loss. Social movements advocating for climate action, ecosystem protection, and sustainable development have gained momentum, with younger generations demanding that their leaders prioritize environmental sustainability. This generational shift creates political space for ambitious conservation initiatives like tiger reintroduction. The symbolism of tigers returning to Korean mountains resonates powerfully with broader themes of national reconciliation and healing. Just as tigers might bridge the DMZ, moving freely across the border between North and South. They could symbolize hopes for eventual reunification and shared environmental stewardship. In this vision, tiger conservation becomes intertwined with peace building, offering a positive narrative about cooperation and shared futures. Conclusion: the Amur Tiger's status as South Korea's national animal represents far more than ceremonial symbolism. It reflects deep cultural connections forged over millennia, embodies values central to Korean identity, and poses profound questions about humanity's relationship with the natural world. Though wild tigers no longer roam Korean mountains, they remain vivid in cultural memory and collective imagination, inspiring ongoing conservation efforts that extend beyond national borders. The challenges facing Amur tiger conservation are formidable. Habitat loss, poaching, human-wildlife conflict, and climate change all threaten the species' survival. Yet hope persists, sustained by dedicated conservation efforts, international cooperation, and growing public awareness. The stabilization of Russian tiger populations demonstrates that recovery is possible when humans commit resources and political will to conservation. For South Korea and the international community, protecting Amur tigers represents a test of our ability to coexist with nature, preserve biodiversity, and maintain the ecological systems that sustain all life. The tiger's fate will reveal much about human priorities and values in an era of unprecedented environmental change. As South Koreans look toward the future, the image of the tiger remains powerful and evocative. It reminds them of their historical connections to wild nature, challenges them to envision ambitious environmental restoration, and calls them to fulfill their role as stewards of their natural heritage. Whether tigers will again prowl Korean mountains remains uncertain, but the dream of their return keeps alive the possibility of a future where humans and wildlife coexist, where broken ecosystems are restored, and where the courage and strength symbolized by the tiger find expression in humanity's commitment to protecting the natural world.